Hi there. So, as promised, we're going to talk about my childhood. And today, for some reason, I was led back to Your Past is a Gift. And believe it or not, we're only in the introduction. I'd forgotten how good this book was. So I'm actually rereading this and re-experiencing it with you because this is like 6 books later and I'm like, wow, I'd forgotten this was even in here. You know, the beautiful information that was shared from the very, very first book. So the next paragraph I wanted to share, which is also from the introduction from the second page, is paragraph 3. And it says, understand that an adult who has a heart full of love cannot harm another human being or living thing. Therefore, if an adult hurt you physically or emotionally, it was just an expression of the pain they were carrying within them. The pain of feeling unwanted, unloved, unworthy, and not good enough. Their anger towards you was never about you. And for some adults, what they do is all they've ever known. It's up to each one of us to choose whether the cycle of abuse continues. So, this was perfect for today. Just as I was reading through that chapter, I thought, oh, wow, I can use this as well. So, let's have a look at that. An adult that has a heart full of love cannot harm another human being or living thing. So what does that tell you about the grown-ups that raised you? Now you have to think back to your childhood. And this is what we're going to be doing a lot, because to be free from all of that, you have to go through it. You have to go through it. You can't avoid it. And if you try to avoid it, you'll notice in your life you've got certain patterns that just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. If not, start to notice things that keep coming up for you because they're there for you. And these patterns mostly are created from childhood. So going back to the topic of parents and their pain. Now, as I said in the previous video, I grew up with both of my parents. I grew up in a beautiful home. It was truly, truly beautiful. I had food, I had clothes. I never knew what it was to go a day without either of those things. I had everything. So why, at the age of 22, was I in depression? Why did I want my life to end? And I was in that for about 1.5 years that I didn't want to be here. It got so bad that my parents allowed me to come back to Australia. We were living in South America at the time. And they just couldn't stand to see me cry anymore. That they were happy for me to pack my bags and pay my ticket and send me off. That's how bad it was. So let's go back. And to go back, it's not just going back to my childhood, because that's not where the trauma starts. And this is something that's mostly worked on in that first book, Your Past is a Gift. Understanding that whatever you've been through in your childhood did not start there. It already started a childhood before yours, and a childhood before that, and a childhood before that. And it's been going on for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Generations upon generations upon generations. So I don't know anything about my grandmother's past, about her childhood. My mum never talks about her. The only information I got about my grandmother on my mother's side was that she died along with my mum's dad when my mum was 5. So both of my mum's parents died when she was 5. That's the information I have, and the only information I have from my mum. I don't know anything about my grandmother or my grandfather. She never talks about them. She never talked about them when I was young. She always used to have a photo of her on her bedside table, just of her mum though. Now, picture yourself at the age of 5, regardless of the childhood you've had. Just imagine with me, you're 5 years old, and you come home one day from school or from wherever. You're just standing there and you receive the news that both of your parents have passed away, and you're only 5. So from that event, my mum took away that love can be taken away. She was abandoned. Her parents left her all alone in the world. So she's abandoned. She's unsupported by this world that can take away the most important thing in your life at the age of 5. The most important. It's the people that you need. Your mum and your dad, gone, just like that, at the age of 5. To top it off, she went to live with an aunt. An aunt adopted her and one of her sisters. And she would cop brutal beatings quite regularly if she didn't do what she was told, or if she did the wrong thing. Now, imagine what that feels like. You go to a house where you're rejected, not wanted, made to feel like you're a burden, because that's what it was. She was a burden on that family. As another mouth to feed in a country that was very poor, because she grew up in South America. My parents are both from South America. So now picture this little girl. Not only has she lost her parents, but she's gone to a home where she's not wanted, and they make it obvious that she's not wanted and that she's a burden to them. How is that person going to look at life moving forward? How are they going to interact with the world moving forward? Are they going to think it's a wonderful place? Are they going to believe in the magic of this world? Or are they going to think it's a hostile place? It's not safe. Are they going to want to control everything? Because they don't want to lose the most important things. Now, going back to my story, I had both parents. I grew up with both parents, and they're still alive today. I had a beautiful house. I grew up here in Australia where we weren't poor. I had food, I had clothes. I never went a day without anything I needed to survive. And yet, at the age of 5, my sister was born. I felt abandoned, cast aside, and I felt like love was taken away from me. After my sister was born, my mum would yell at me, she would smack me. She would yell and smack both of us, but because I was older, I was the one that was always getting in trouble. I was the one always being smacked. And so now there was that resentment towards my sister, that because of you, not only does mum not want me anymore, not love me anymore, but because of you, I get smacked and I get yelled at. And that never happened before she was born. Never. Not once. So, without realizing, my mum passed on to me all the feelings that she had from her childhood. The not being wanted, the being cast aside, the invisible, being invisible amongst all these children in this household that she had moved to. But the most important was that love is taken away. Love from your mum. The most important person, your mum, your dad, these people that you need in your life to grow. Well, you don't need. You can survive without them, but it's a very different childhood without. And so she passed all that on to me, even though I had everything. I had my parents and I had everything. But all of those things that she felt as a child were passed on to me. And at the age of 22, my depression was because I felt that my love didn't matter, that nobody wanted my love. So what was the point of me being here? That was my depression. That I didn't want to be here anymore because I didn't want to hurt anymore. I didn't want to feel that pain inside of me anymore of not being wanted, of not being loved. I'd had enough of it. All right, my darling. So we're going to talk more about this. There's a lot to talk about. So stay with it. You know, it's perception. You know, it's how we perceive the world through the eyes of a child. And until we learn to see the world through the eyes of love, that can't shift. We stay in those patterns. We stay in that place of not being wanted, not being seen, not being supported, all of that, not being worthy of love. So that's what we're here for, all right? I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye for now.